Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Renee Slansky and I'm a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from around the world uncomplicate love and find and build the relationship they desire and deserve. So without further ado, let's get into this week's Ask Renee's question. That I get asked a lot, because let's face it, when you get into a relationship, there's always a possibility that it's not going to work out. I'm someone that I don't believe that you should get into a relationship with the mindset that it won't work out, but at the same time, you shouldn't be disillusioned as well. So this week's question is this: how do I get over a breakup? Goodness, if we could just press a button or take a tablet and make it all go faster than what it actually feels like, then wouldn't that be amazing? But the reality is that we can't fast forward time, and we need to be able to go through the motions and allow ourselves to go through it, because it is an important part of the healing process. But I do have 5 quick tips to be able to help you make sure that you are able to speed up that process a little bit so that you're not getting stuck in this season of pain. Now, before we jump into it, I do want to say that I have lots of blogs over at my website which go into even more depth and detail about that. So I will actually highlight them in the description below if you need a little bit more extra help as well. Now, when you go through a breakup, I want to also just say this before I even get into the 5 tips. Don't put pressure on yourself to feel that you have to be healed again or over that person by a certain amount of time. Sometimes the people in our world can make us feel a little bit guilty, or they can put this pressure on us that we should be over it already, or that we should already be thinking about somebody else or already dating somebody else because the relationship we got out of wasn't making us happy. Regardless of whether or not the relationship you got out of was healthy or not, or made you happy or not, the point is there isn't a certain amount of time that you should necessarily take to be able to get over that person. You're still going to go through those motions. I have met people who have gone from a 20-year marriage and then in 3 months they've met somebody else and totally fallen in love with that person. And then I've also met people who've been in a 3-month relationship and then it's taken them almost 2 years to be able to get over that person. Okay, so let's get into the first 5 tips. Tip number 1. Grieve. Now, this is so important. This kind of goes in what I was saying with not forcing the process or not forcing yourself to heal. When you break up with someone, the hardest thing that can happen is that we have to grieve that person even though they're still alive. Now, breakups are difficult on us emotionally, mentally, and physically because we're so used to having that person in our world and building a routine with them that as soon as we stop that, and it's almost like we have to forget that they even exist, which is, let's face it, completely impossible to do at times. Cutting contact and not being able to have that person in your life in a normal daily way that you used to is incredibly hard. So it's no wonder that we actually feel a loss for this person. Now, acknowledging your pain and acknowledging what you're feeling during this process of the breakup is so incredibly important, because if you don't, what you're going to do is you're either going to bottle it up and then it's all going to explode or manifest in some other way, or you're going to start to find other ways to outlet your pain, whether it's dating the wrong sort of people or trying to replace that person with somebody new. Either way, it is so important that you actually give yourself permission to grieve this relationship. Now, obviously, we don't want you to get stuck in the grieving process, and that's why it's important to still keep moving forward. But before we even go into step 2, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you do grieve that relationship. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you need to feel, whether it's crying, whether it's anger, whether it's regret, whatever it is, give yourself permission to feel that. Just make sure you don't get stuck in that moment for too long. Number 2, don't date. Okay. Some people might say to me, oh, but I need to date because I need to be distracted and I need to think about somebody else and I need to, get that person off my mind. The amount of times that I have had clients say to me as soon as they've gone through a breakup or friends when they tell me they're going through the breakup and the pain and everything they're feeling, and then their solution is, well, I'll just jump on a dating app. I just think, oh my gosh, no. Don't date. I promise you that there will still be people wanting to date you 3 to 6 to 12 months after you have gone through the healing process of what a breakup requires. You are not going to miss out on the love of your life if you choose to delay it a little bit, because that is what is going to help you get that person in the end, rather than just trying to find somebody to replace what you have lost right now. It is so easy to jump on a dating app nowadays, or jump on online dating, or just say yes to any sort of attention that comes your way. We live in a world where dating is made so much more accessible. But it doesn't mean that we should be dating, especially at a time where we are still healing and learning to be whole again without somebody else. If you start dating immediately after you break up with someone, you're going to leave yourself open to dating the wrong sort of person, and probably for the wrong sort of reason as well, which can lead to a lot of disappointment for them and for yourself, and maybe even put you in positions where you're making the wrong sort of decisions and then actually having these long-term negative effects for a short-term kind of distraction. Don't be in a hurry to meet somebody else as soon as you've broken up. Yes, it would be lovely if we could fall in love with someone straight away. But the reason why we want that is because we want to try and forget everything that we had with this other person. Take your time. If you cannot date for at least a month, minimum to 3 months, then I guarantee you're going to have a lot more clarity. You're going to learn how to rebuild yourself again and be whole after that last relationship you've been in. It's going to give you a lot more of a healthy perspective on who it is you should be dating, or what it is you should even be doing now. For all you know, it might be best just to have a season of being single so that you can just focus on yourself and rebuild what it is that actually makes you happy in your life, regardless of whether or not you're in a relationship. Okay, tip number 3, keep busy. Oh, when we go through breakups, our mind can take us on these paths, and the more that we don't have to do, the more we're going to focus on the person that we were in a relationship with, and what could have been, and how we could have changed it, and we're going to think of all those what ifs. Keep yourself busy. Now, this means keeping your hands busy, your mind busy, your life busy. Get yourself some new goals if you need to. What are some new hobbies? What is your purpose? What are some things that you can be focusing on instead, so that you are actively busy on a daily basis, so that you don't have time to text them, or you don't have time to call them, or you don't even have time to think of them because you're so busy with your own life outside of them. This is why it's really important that even when you're in a relationship, you still need to keep your individuality, and you still need to keep your own social life, because just in case the relationship doesn't work out, it shouldn't be a matter of having to rebuild everything in your life, okay? You should be able to literally just fall back into the routine of being this fabulous single person again. Now, clearly after a breakup, there's going to be a lot of emotions, there's going to be a lot of highs and lows, and we're going to have those moments where we won't even feel like being social, we won't feel like doing anything, and that is completely normal. There will be days where don't do anything. If you want to have a sit and a cry and just be on your own and not be around people, then do that. But just don't do it every day, because otherwise you're going to get stuck in that grieving, and you're going to get stuck in that time and that season of hurt and pain, and you're not going to be able to move forward in a much faster way. Okay, step 4 is focus. Choose your focus. Okay, how many times have you gone through a breakup and it's so easy to just daydream for like an hour or 2 hours on that past relationship? It's almost like we want to wallow it. Look, I'll be honest with you guys and girls. There is a part of us that doesn't want to let go. No matter how toxic the relationship was, or even how healthy the relationship was, there is a part of us that will not subconsciously want to let go of that person. And so it's almost like if we do let go of that person, we're then really severing everything that we had with them, and that is painful. So that's why our mind will keep taking us there. And of course, whatever our mind does, our heart seems to follow as well. So really, if you want to know the key to being able to really move forward in a breakup, it's choose your focus, choose your mindset, choose what you are mentally thinking every day. It might even come down to something as, in layman's terms, saying you have to discipline your mind. Don't allow yourself to be taken on this tangent of thinking about your ex and thinking about what could have been, and if it was only different because of, you know, A, B, and C. It is so easy to get stuck in that moment. You need to catch yourself every single time you start thinking about your past. Now, if you've broken up in your relationship because he was unfaithful or she was unfaithful, then it is so easy to then start stalking them, or it's so easy to start stalking the person who they were unfaithful with and keep revisiting and comparing yourself and doing all those things, which is basically like, you know, where we overcomplicate things and we overthink things, and before you know it, we've built it up to be 100 million times worse than what it actually needs to. At the end of the day, the relationship has ended and you cannot go back and change the past. What you can do is you can move forward and you can choose your thoughts right now. Do not indulge in thoughts which are going to keep you sad. Discipline your mind. Every time you think of him or her, I want you to do this. I want you to catch yourself. I want you to practice the pause. I want you to stop. I want you to get up, and I want you to replace that thought with a positive action. Whether it's drinking water, whether it's writing down a positive affirmation, whether it's literally walking for 5 minutes just to stretch and relax and do something to distract yourself and break that train of thought. Okay, so really choose your focus. I guarantee you, the moment that you start to discipline your mind is the moment you will start to have breakthrough on being able to get over a breakup. Lastly, number 5 is stop contact. Every time you touch that wound, every time you rip off that band-aid, every time you have the unnecessary contact with an ex, you are going to make it harder to be able to heal and move on. This means even silent contact, such as Facebook stalking, Instagram stalking, social media stalking. There is no point to keep having this unnecessary contact with somebody that you used to have a relationship with, because it's going to hinder you from being able to move forward and see your life without them. Now, of course, if you have children or assets with them, then it is a little bit harder to be able to move on quicker because you need to have some sort of contact with them. I'm not saying stop all contact, but there is a benefit in doing that. Now, if you do need to have contact with them because of children's assets or whatever, just make sure you don't have unnecessary contact with them, such as sending them a quick text saying, oh, I saw this and it reminded me of you. Or, hey, just wondering how you're doing. You don't get to have the same sort of romantic contact that you used to have with them, because a breakup is still a breakup, regardless of whether or not you still have children with that person. Okay, you need to keep it clean, you need to keep it black and white, and you need to draw the line. Otherwise, you're going to be living in this grey land, and it's not going to be 50 Shades of Grey amazing. It's going to be 50 Shades of Grey confusing, and you're going to be in this place of limbo, and you're not fully going to be able to heal, and you're not going to know what to do, because you're going to keep revisiting this relationship. And then he might do things, or she might do things that make you think you've got a chance to be back together. And then you're just going to be like, what do I do? Well, that's it for you. Those are my 5 tips for helping you get over a breakup. Now, I will again highlight some of those links below, which are going to take you to some of my blog posts for the datingdirectory.co. Now, if you do have a question that you want me to ask, don't forget to send me an email at hello@reneeslansky.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. I do new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. And until next time, bye for now.